Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there. My name is Kiza Martha. The majority call me Mama Family, my business name, because my services touch the family. Any given family, you may think of that is my work. I'm here again to share with you a topic, this time child abuse. Child abuse can be defined as anything done to a child either by a fellow child or an adult that causes pain or injury. It harms a child, and central in the definition is that it is not accidental. It is done intentionally and with the ill intentions of harming a child. Simply, let us take that one as our definition for child abuse. And when we talk of a child, both male and female, child is a victim here, or can be a victim, like we have always seen. My definition of a child, leaving all other factors constant, according to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, a child is a person between 0 to 18 years, though other cultures and countries may define a child differently, but for purpose, let us, the purpose of this video, let us take that definition. Child abuse can take three forms. It can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be sexual. And examples under physical have things like beatings, any kind of brutality done against a child, like burning them, like kicking, like slapping, and any other kind of brutality that can cause pain, mental pain and physical pain, is child abuse physically. And emotionally, we have things like denying children basic needs like medication, food, water, and others. May include things like scolding them, denying them play, isolating them, verbal insults, that any other kind of torture psychologically is emotional abuse. And when it comes to sexual abuse, let me categorize it into two. There is hard and soft. For soft sexual abuse, it can be, as the word suggests, things done and always in the child's environment, as not so something that may not affect them negatively. Things like indecent touches that are not deep. Obscenity can be verbal obscenity, or can be nudity, can be soft porno, all those kind of things in the soft child abuse sexually. And when it comes to hard, it is very complicated. It is also called complicated child sexual abuse. Includes something like hard pornography, which involves naked people, maybe people doing sex, exposure to the children's love stories, and maybe child rape. And the rape can be done by individuals, a group of individuals against a child, or one child against another, or an adult against a child. It can be penetrative, or it involves a lot of brutality around the child's body, even if it is not penetrative, that causes deep bruises, tears. Those ones, that one is hard child sexual molestation. And this one, child abuse, sexually or sexual child abuse, has short-term and long-term effects. And most of the short-term effects may cross over to a long-term negative effects, and the child, now an adult at this time, has a lot of problems associated with sexual harassment or sexual abuse that happened some time back. And for this video, let me concentrate on a girl child and sexual harassment of a girl child, especially because when I join both boys and girls together, it will be this huge. And this is not to say that I have ignored the boy child. In another video, I will come with the sharing of sexual harassment or sexual abuse of a boy child. Thank you. Short-term effects include things like tear of the muscles, injuries, extreme fear, pelvic pain, failure to play with others, isolation, failure to eat food, and because of what is happening around the child's mind, the shame, the shyness, sometimes blame, sometimes the stories the child hears about the sexual experience they have gone through. Sometimes it can be infections. The child can get infections, depending on a child's age and the age of the perpetrator, and the brutality has used. It can cause fistula. Fistula is a condition whereby, because of muscle tear and all that brutality, the child is unable to control urine and stool. That one is very painful, is very shaming, and sometimes the child cannot be with others. The parents may not be able to help. Maybe there is no money, and that one makes it so complicated. All this I'm talking about because men out there is a very big group that cannot be ignored, that think that if a child has been sexually molested, it is minor, there is no any big problem, because they see them doing their daily chores, they are going to school, they are doing housework, they are playing, and therefore it's okay. Therefore what? No. We need to know their long-term and short-term effects. Unless they are healed, the child can be wasted, cannot be relevant enough as she should have been if she was protected. The long-term effects include things like bad grades in school. You realize that a child who used to do very well at school, in class, starts to deteriorate, and the reasons are not known. It's because of the bad experiences, the flashbacks, the anger, the insecurity, all around it. And the teachers in schools these days, unfortunately, uh, don't take such things seriously. They don't have time. During our time as teachers, we used to have child study. When you see any child changing behavior in class, you sit them down, ask what is happening, you invite parents, talk to them, ask them questions. Sometimes you reach home environment and see what is going on, um, all to heal the child. But these days, no. These days it's all about grades. Get aggregate 4 at P7, get aggregate 8 at senior 4, get 20 points at senior 6, get a first class degree at university. By the way, let me share this also. It doesn't mean that success depends entirely on academic grades. No, we have seen examples of many people who have made it all round very successfully, and when you track their academic performance, it wasn't all that good, or it could have been they could have been named one of the poorest performers, but later in life they are so good, they are so progressive, they are so successful. So teachers, my appeal is that stop scolding children who perform badly. Their reasons are because no child wants to perform badly, and find out what is happening. Beating children, beating them because you want your grades is worsening the problem other than solving anything. We are still continuing with the long-term effects. Another one is a constant errors. The child starts making silly errors. A child who was once organized now is full of fear, is full of uncertainty, is fearing the male figure, especially if they are exposed to male teachers. And you find that they fear, even if one is about to scratch themselves, you see them running away. And when you give them simple tasks, there are a lot of errors. It could be one of the indicators that the child was sexually abused, or they are continually being abused. And that is the case. Another thing is the children lack trust for men. Those ones who have been sexually harassed or abused, they associate anything to do with a man as somebody bad, and some of them start even fearing their real fathers at home. And you see that the child has created a very big gap between herself and the father, and the explanation is not there. Sometimes they are sexually abused. Things like depression, anxiety, extreme anger. I will talk about things quickly like dyspareunia, gastrointestinal disorders, pepsimia, and antenatal care. The children an adult cannot go there, sometimes in fear of exposing herself. She thinks that maybe the doctors or nurses there will see their genital area, and they feel they are not confident enough. We talked of fistula earlier. Even if the wounds could have healed, but there is also a problem of fistula. I'm saying the injuries could have healed, but control of stool and urine is still there. And if the child in school does not want to associate with any friend, and even friends cannot associate with such kind of girl, they feel it is shameful, and the child eventually drops out of school. That is very dangerous. Even the surgery needed to correct such mistakes that were done is expensive. Parents may not be able to handle. And things like infections, HIV, AIDS, unwanted pregnancies. Well, let's talk about HIV, AIDS, and unwanted pregnancies, depending on the age of the child, when they were sexually molested. If they were ready to conceive at that time, yes, they will conceive, and unfortunately, they may also get HIV, AIDS. Parents on this one, well wishers, neighbors, whoever can help out there, please spread the information, because people, many people are not aware that there is PEP. We shall not go into the details of PEP, but what is important to know is that if the child is hurried to the hospital after the incident, the doctors in the hospital or the hospital staff will manage the issues of pregnancy and the HIV. Please let them go there. Unfortunately, in most cases, by the time the child discloses the abuse, it has happened several times, because people, the perpetrators are in most cases people who are well known by the victims. Research indicates that around 93% of the perpetrators are well known to these victims. People will sometimes brothers and uncles, houseboys, neighbors, family friends, gatekeepers, and all other people we keep in our homes to clean cars, maintain flowers, and they can do it. And often have done it. Hawkers who come around with their ill intentions and they pretend they are selling their produce. Those products are sometimes just being carried for reasons that are ill. People also people who deliver our goods, the food, the border guys. And this is not to say that all border guys are that way, but some are, and they do it to our children. And sometimes this one is also worth mentioning, because it is it is happening, and it is on the increase these days, is the fathers. The head of the family is the one sexual abusing the daughter. That one, in that case, it becomes very difficult to manage, because it involves things like also the mother being threatened to leave the home in case they disclose it. Family, I mean extended family influence, they don't want any kind of information to leak out. They fear or the bad name of their family. So the whole thing is kept under blanket, but the child is suffering. The child has not psychologically healed. Please, let us let the community gain sanity. Let girls are out there, very many. There are many women out there. There is no any reason why a father or any other person would really go for children when it is always said the men are fewer than women, and if they are fewer, go. If the women are many and the men are fewer, go for those many, other than concentrating on the children. The effect is so much. The communities should know that the effect is so much than you expect, than the stories we hear, that it is minor, it is very dangerous. Then there's prostitution as a long-term effect. People have always asked us the difference between prostitution and child abuse sexually. Sexual child abuse, a child who was sexually abused, depending on the gravity and also the mental state and all what was registered in her mind, they feel shy, they are ashamed, there is blame. Sometimes they blame them. Where were you along the roadside? Why did you accept this person? But this is a child. The other person is big. The bigger one should have been the one to control the child, because the children are not old enough to make informed decisions whether they accept. The consent of the child is not an excuse to sexual molestation. They are young, they are given these small intense small gifts. Those incentives are not even bigger than a sweet. It's mostly a sweet. A sweet is commonly used. Sweets, sticks of ripe bananas, those bogoyas, and also sometimes it may be a piece of meat. And this is a house boy who kept a piece of meat for his victim. When they are hungry is when they bring it out. This one, bought by daddy, is the one used to entice the girl. And you see that the child is always being prepared, and the preparation is sometimes through persuasion, but at times it is also with threats. The child is threatened. I'm going to do it whether you like it or not, and I'll kill you if you say it. They bring out swords, they show them to the children. If they are fathers, they are like, I will stop paying school fees, I will deny you fees and all school fees and any other anything that you need for your survival, and the child is threatened so much, and they keep quiet. And sometimes when they tell their mummies of what is happening, the mothers are not confident enough to handle. They say they also keep it to themselves. Mothers, take time and help your children. Talk to your girl child as early as 3 years. They can understand what happens. Because when you talk of when you share with the prostitutes, those who are allowed to give you information, they will tell you that I'm doing this because I was sexually abused when I was young, and I lost all my self-worth, and sometimes they were abused several times, more than 10 times, and as an adult she doesn't see anything to hide. She decides out of anger, it's a defense mechanism. Let me give it to anybody. They get all that boldness of calling any man around to come, say, let me do it for money. After all, it was abused. So as a defense mechanism, they just tell you that we are not happy about it, though we are doing it because you have to earn. And when they go to their rooms there, it is not always good, pleasurable as you may expect. No, it is, I'm not always there, but they share. Sometimes it is a fight, theft, sometimes killing. Because if the flashbacks come and they are like, I'm in this act because I don't want it, not because I want it, but because I'm forced to do it, they do what is negative, other than what they have gone in there for. The sex does not become gratifying there. They end up stealing, snatching money's property, maybe fighting them with shoes and all that. And sometimes it ends up into murder. All those kinds, all that explanation is all about long-term effects. And this kind of a person can end up into your office, into your home as a wife, into your brother's home, or can become your family friend, and she's bringing a problem. That's why it's a community problem, and it's an assignment for every person to defend a girl child against sexual harassment. On the other hand, there are those ones who will tell you that the experience was very punishing, and all that kind of flashbacks. They hate men, and they say they will never marry, they will never do anything associated with the man. They decide to keep alone, but because of our communities and our cultures, they start naming them something. Maybe they were cast and all that. They decide to marry because they are beautiful, but they tell you they don't like the experience. Sexual activities in the bedroom become something to fight for. Quarrels, constant quarrels, hate and all that. She may not even know what is happening, but she tells you, if given a chance, I will run away from this marriage, until they are healed of that kind of problem. That is when we can have a sane person. Ladies and gentlemen, it is much. Let me have stop here for now, but there is part 2 of it. I will continue with the part 2. For now, please subscribe, like it. Until then, bye bye.